It's your boy Dave Partner. I already have two people watching. So it turns out that world heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder, that's his name, Deontay Wilder, says he's from Edo State in Nigeria. Sorry, I have to clean this to make sure that. So Wilder says he's from Edo State in Nigeria, and not just that, that he's coming. So now he's the second world champion in martial arts that is coming to Edo State, not just Nigeria. You know, he's repping Edo State. We're talking about Kamaru Usman that is currently in Nigeria. I think he's within a welterweight champion in the UFC, mixed martial arts, strongest man in the world. It's from Edo State. Respect. You know, on top of that, you have Deontay Wilder, the hardest puncher this planet has ever produced. He doesn't even have boxing skills. If he knock you punch like this, if Wilder blow you, end of fight. Wilder say he's from Edo. Not just that, he's coming. You know, he can't wait to fight his next fight. His next fight is between him and Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury defeated him the last year, February, and refused to fight the third fight. You know, they had 3 fights. If you've been following boxing, Wilder was the champion. Fury was the lineal champion. So that is basically Fury won the world champion belt from Klitschko and refused to fight again. He got into drugs, cocaine, he got fat, he got overweight and everything. So they took the belt from him, you know, and Wilder was able to win one of those belts. So Fury was beltless, but at the same time, he's undefeated. So they call him lineal champion. Nobody wanted to fight him because he's too skilled. So he was only fighting upcoming fighters. No person with belt wanted to fight him. I'm talking about Anthony Joshua. Didn't want to fight Fury. Fury is too good, you know, too physically gifted, and such a great boxer. Is undefeated. Then Wilder, on the other hand, decided to give him an olive branch and said, "Hey, come fight me." And they fought. The first fight, they drew it. So Wilder had the option of saying, "Okay, I'm not fighting you again, guy. You're too good." It was a draw. And that draw was narrow escape for Wilder because Fury beat Wilder the whole round. On the last round, last 30 seconds, Wilder knocked Fury down. That knockdown alone was what equalized that fight. And in that fight, he knocked down Fury twice, in the second round and in the last round. So Wilder would have run away and said, "Guy, I'm not fighting this guy again," you know. But he granted him a second fight. And in that second fight, in the agreement, they said, "Okay, after this fight, we're going to have one more fight." You understand? To make it a trilogy. But in that second fight, Fury was able to defeat Wilder. Clean, knockout, round 7. He beat the shit out of Wilder. He beat him like, say, he teach something. Beat him like who insulted mama. Beat him. You know, that Wilder never got the chance to throw his right hand. So that was how Fury took his belt. Now, naturally, Wilder is supposed to, Fury is supposed to grant the third rematch, but he started running. He was running to Anthony Joshua. He remains small, make I say TB Joshua. Fury was running to Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua has 3 belts. Fury has 1 that he snatched from Wilder. Wilder wanted a rematch. Now, Fury may not have been convinced that he will win that rematch. So what did he do? He started avoiding it for 1 year. More than 1 year now. Since February last year, they should have had a rematch like in 3 months. Around this time last year, they should have rematched. He was running. If you are strongly convinced that you are better than this guy, and actually in that second fight, he beats Wilder well, convincingly well. Why didn't he take the third fight? He ran. Wilder had to sue him to court. So this year, while the court case was still on, do you believe that Fury went and signed to fight Anthony Joshua? Anthony Joshua didn't know how serious the case was with Wilder, so he agreed. They even booked venue, everything, only for court to rule that Fury must complete that third fight. As per say, the agreement. Agreement is agreement. So now they have fixed that fight for next month. So July 24th, next month, is going down, man. Wilder vs. Fury 3. Now, what you have to know is that all Wilder's life, he has never been a good boxer. The last time he was a good boxer was when he was in the Olympics. That was when he won bronze. That was the last time he was. Even In that Olympics, they knocked him out. He was knocked out in the Olympics. So he now won the last belt, which is bronze. That's why they call him Bronze Bomber, you know. But then at the end of the day, um, now they have agreed to fight. If you see the Wilder training videos, Wilder is actually going back to his boxing roots. The reason he has not been a good boxer is because his right hand helps him all the time. Once he's in the ring, he's not interested in boxing, all those collecting of points, and he's not interested because he knows that somewhere in between that first round and 12th round, he's going to get you. And all he needs to end the fight is one blow. Blah, whoever you are going down. You're going unconscious. That's how powerful Wilder is. But after Fury defeated him the last time, this guy went mad. He became mean. You know, he started practicing boxing. You know, if you have been watching boxing, you know that Wilder doesn't throw left hands. His left hand is basically useless in fight, you know, maybe just to block people's face. You know, but after Fury defeated him, Wilder went and started training left hand. You get, I believe those videos must have been scaring Fury that made Fury run, you know. Wilder also started training footwork. You know, started training head movement. He doesn't have head movement before. He just stands and, you know, moves back when you're attacking him. But he started training head movements, head movement. So all those trainings and everything shows you that, man, and he stopped giving interview. Wilder did not give any single public interview from that February last year till now. You know, except the latest one he just said now in promotion for the fight of next month. He now came and said, look, I'm actually from Nigeria. I'm from Edo. And how did he find out? He did DNA test. You know, you spit in a test tube. Some of you abroad, you should do that. It's $99. Find some $99 and do that. Go to ancestry.com. He's we in Nigeria that cannot do that. Go to ancestry.com. Sign up, register, ancestry.com. Or I think the better one is africanancestry.com. Okay, so you go there, you spit in a tube. They will send a tube to you. They will mail it to your house. You spit in it, close it, and then send it to them. 2 weeks later, if you log in online, they will show you everything about you, everything. Where your father is from, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, they will plot a map, you know. So I think that thing will benefit Nigeria, you know, in particular, because we're always having this tribal beef. There's always beef in Nigeria. These people beefing these people, it's all, you know, you see Yorubas quarreling with Edos quarreling with Yorubas, Igbos quarreling with Edos, you know. Everywhere there is border. You know, Igbos with Igala, Igala with Hausa, Hausa with Fulani, Fulani with tribal problem everywhere. I'm telling you, if they bring that DNA test to Nigeria and make it cheap, let's say they make it to 2K, many people will be shocked from where they came from. You know, you might be thinking that you're 100% Igbo, only to realize that one of your ancestors came from Edo. It shock you. You know, when you realize that, you automatically you have a certain kind of love for Edo people. You start appreciating their point of views, their culture, their tradition, you know. The thing is that this thing will tell you the actual village you are from. That africanancestry.com, if you go there, they will tell you the community, because they will test your DNA and tell you the community in Africa that matches it. It's not just a state thing, it's a community. They will show you where you're from. This guy that was from this guy that died, Chadwick Boseman, from what the Black Panther. This guy that was acting Black Panther that died. He said he's from Urobo. His ancestors were taken as slaves from Urobo. He tested his DNA. They told him that the only other place you have a lot of people with this kind of DNA is in Urobo. Now, what he didn't do was visit Urobo. He said he will visit it. He died, cancer killer. You know, that's taking me to my next point. So I believe that DNA test in Nigeria, in fact, government should make it a standard and subsidize it and make it free. You know, the way they make vaccines subsidized, let them do DNA tests like that. It's gonna cure us of this tribal madness. You know, when you realize that your great ancestors, at least 3 of your ancestors came from Yoruba, and you're Edo beefing Yoruba people, it will shock you. You know what I'm saying? The whole beef will it will just fizzle out. You know, you start seeing Yoruba as your tribe, and then you start defending their point of views. When they are protesting, you kind of appreciate their pain, you know? If there's anything they're complaining about, you appreciate it, especially the town that you are told that you're from. You get? Or they tell you that one of your ancestors was Fulani. We know that there was a lot of war. There was war in 1967. That war meant that a lot of young men in Igbo land died out. You know, for that war to last for 3 years, a lot of young men, young Igbo men died out, wiped out, because they were the fighting force, they were the military. You understand? A lot of other things happened, you know, in terms of unspeakable things happened. The conquerors then, they did a lot of things to the women. So imagine finding out that, oh, I'm actually partly from these people. Or all these raids that are happening, herdsmen have been raiding villages. You think it's starting now? Some people are just thinking that this thing has started under Buhari. Guy, that herdsman raid has been on for 200 years. Go and read history. 200 years. 200 years. So many towns, 200 years. It's not a Buhari thing. The only thing now is that more people are hearing about it, or maybe it's actually escalating now. Two different things. It's possible it's escalating and becoming worse and worse now. Within the past 6 years, it's possible. But the fact is that it has been on. So imagine checking your DNA and you find out that you're partly from these people. Oh boy. Kasala go boss. Or some of these people check their DNA and find out that they are partly from you people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of tribal tensions in Nigeria will calm down and die down. Imagine them testing the north. Find out that a lot of people that think they are 100% Fulani are actually mix of Fulani and Hausa. People that think they're 100% Hausa actually are Hausa, Fulani, Berom, all those tribes, Igala, you know, mix. You know, tribal tensions will calm down. If they now tell you to go and attack these people, you will say, no, my great-great-grandfather is from there. Why would I attack them? You know, let us listen to what they have to say. So another thing is, look, a lot of migrations have happened in the past. Some of they killed history, they banned history in Nigeria since 1960 something. You know, they banned history. So it's only few schools that did history. Like me, I was privileged to be one of those few schools in Nigeria that did history. We studied history. We wrote exams on it. You know, but many schools banned it. It's not there at all. So a lot of people don't know where they are from. Igbos Igbos travel all over the world. They say any village or town you go in the world and you don't see an Igbo man, that means that place is not in this world. You have entered alien planets. You get? And you start seeing places like the north, see Kano, see large Igbo population, Medugri. I had a friend that was living in Medugri, the northern part, close to the border. An Igbo man was like, how did you get there, man? You know, they hear this Boko Haram. Say, but he can't leave his business. Man, you're doing business in the middle of a Boko Haram territory. Say, yeah. You get Afghanistan, they're going to throw bomb. You see woman trying to sell one last spare part, you know. You gotta sell the spare part, man. You know? See someone you dot man, man. See dot people trying to sell parts. So imagine that they do DNA tests and a lot of people find out that they have roots. You know, this trading has been on since. Like now, there's a place called Ibi in Taraba State. The thieves used to occupy there. Thieves, 200 years ago, thieves used to occupy there until they clashed with Fulanis and then they pulled down to present-day Benue State. And when Igbos in the south heard about Ibi town business, yeah, about 10 communities from the part of Igbo land called the Ebonyi State, 10 communities came together and said, we are migrating to that place. I'm telling you things that happened 200 years ago. 10 communities, you know what is 10 communities? Count it. I'm talking about one community now is about 50,000 people. So then I would think that one community then will be like 5 to 10,000 people, multiplied by 10. So we're looking at a migration of about 100,000 people. These 10 communities, many of them speak Igbo, about 7 of them are Igbo speaking, some of them are not Igbo, directly Igbo speaking. The remaining 3. They migrated northward from Ebonyi State. If you look at the map of Nigeria, you see Ebonyi State, the next state upward is Benue. By the right, you see Taraba. These people migrated northward. They were looking for Ibi town. Ibi town is a town at the river Niger. You know, on the river Benue. So on their way there, they met resistance. They met thieves migrating downwards from that attack. The thieves who used to own the town. They were dislodged from there. So they encountered thieves. Probably that was a violent encounter, I mean like a war or something. So they started coming all the way backwards again. And the primary reason they were leaving their land was because they believed their land was no longer fertile. So when coming back, many of them did not want to return to their land again. No. They took a diversionary route and ended up in Cross River. So that's where you start having tribes like Bahumono in Cross River. You know, if you cross the river, you will see Abakaliki. So the same tribe that is in Abakaliki was one of those 10 tribes that you see in Bahumono, you see in Abi. There's a place called Abi in Cross River. So some of those towns, after some time, after like 100 years, one of those towns crossed the river and got back into Ebonyi State. You start seeing tribes like Yala, northward of Cross River. Those tribes were one of those 10 tribes. Now imagine that they do DNA test there. The Igbos that were beefing Cross Riverians will be like, your great grandfather is from there, you know? Or Cross Riverians that have been beefing Igbos, we are not part of Igbo. What's the latest one now? We are not. Where did you put us in your Biafra map? This, that, all those things will die down. You know that, bro. We are together. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things will unravel. The whole that DNA test, it will be like the ultimate truth serum. Judgment day for Nigeria. You that can come and government come make them free. Oh boy. It will shock many people. So history is very interesting. The only thing is that it was banned, you know. It was banned. Why would you ban history? Some people think it was banned because of the war. No, it was banned by the colonial masters. The first school to attempt to reintroduce history was University of Ibadan, 1963. 3 years after independence. What are you telling me? It was banned. Part of the reason it was banned because these people committed a lot of atrocities. You know, to bring this country together and form a Nigeria. Do you know how many people that was killed? You know, the murder, you know, the blood spill. Town by every single town fell. There was no single town that did not offer resistance, armed resistance. For every single town to fall and properly be invaded, you know what it means? Blood, man, blood spills. They would wipe out the whole history. Do you know how they conquered Edo? They took soldiers. They took soldiers from the north, went to the south, and from south, they made those soldiers carry about 4 to 10,000 soldiers. Then you had some British officers, few, about 10, 15 British officers, commanding the entire regiment. They made them carry gifts as if they were going to give gifts to the Oba of Benin. You know, but inside those gift wraps, I think it's clay pots, they had their weapons there. And these people lined up. And by the time they arrived in Benin, oh boy, it was too late. Benin Kingdom had mighty walls. So if they all go into that wall and decide to defend it, you can't get in. And the walls were three. There's the major outer one, the inner one, and then the inner one that protects the king. These people got in, thousands of them, before they pulled their sword and started fighting. You know, it was too late. They were already within the Benin territory. So it was, imagine what the fight would have been there. Hand-to-hand fighting, you know, you're dying for your king. Hand-to-hand, there's no war front. Everywhere, scattered everywhere. Before they conquered the Benin Kingdom, then they used the Benin soldiers that they captured to destroy the walls. Such a heritage, they destroyed it, wiped it, leveled it to the ground. If you go to Benin now, you just see remnants, you know. And then they got into the king's palace. There's a picture. They took a picture into the king's palace. They looted everything there. You know, Benin was an empire. An empire means it has a lot of treasuries. They have done a lot of expansion wars, captured a lot of artifacts, kept, you know, a lot of ones that they used to remind. Those days, writings, we didn't have writing. So each king, they will carve each king in bronze and keep it. So picture what a Benin palace would look like then. They will have, this one was 1,200 years ago. His name is this, that. This one is the next Oba. This one is the next. You know how they will line it up, you know? You know where you're coming from. You know your heritage. They stole everything. Tifa. Snap picture. Burnt down the palace and snapped a picture. Go and check it out. It's on Google. The picture there. I was smiling. You know, that was how the whole thing went. Now, if you go to foreign museums, you'll be seeing Benin artifacts. You pay. You're a Benin man. Oh, oh God. Hey, this life, no balance. The last day, as God is judging us, we'll be judging God back. Not judging, but we're asking some questions, no? We're asking, why did you do this and this? And you'll be like, God, how come this happened? Why did this happen? As a Benin man, if you go to UK and go to their museum, they will ask you to pay. Now you pay, and then you will pay to do what? To see your own artifacts. You'll be seeing it. They will write it clearly there. We took this from your own kingdom in 1860 days. It's there, man. And not just that, the way it's supposed to be called Benin State, but it's called Edo or Idu. The Igbos call that place Ana Idu Noba. Oba is the Oba of King. Oba is the king of Edo, right? Now, the Igbos call it the land of Idu and their king, Oba. That's what the Igbos call. So when the Igbos want to tell stories about ancient kingdoms, they usually tell you that in the olden days, in the land of the king, the Idus, and their king, Oba, that the tortoise said this, the giraffe said this, the elephant said it's like folk tale, but actually, these things, they were referring to a historical record. It's now that we know that those things were not just folk tales. They were using animals to tell us stories of what happened in that ancient Idu kingdom. That's why it's called Edo today. But it's actually Idu. Then some people will call it Ado. That's why you start having Ado this. There are towns that have Ado dash this, Ado dash that. You know what I'm saying? So I know why I'm taking time to tell this history, because they don't tell it. I want someone to watch these videos tomorrow and realize where things are. Now, how you will know how to what extent a kingdom got to is the name they call their kings or governors. So if there's an empire, there's a king, all right? Let's say in Edo now, the king is called Oba, right? That's a title. That Oba is not somebody's name, it's a title, right? Now, any other place, any other town, you see people, title holders answering Oba. Just know that Benin Empire got to that place. That is what it means. You get what I'm saying? So if I go to a town and hear that their king there is, the title of their king there is Oba, that means Benin Empire got there. There's no other place where you want to explain it. You get? And if you actually ask the king himself, he'll tell you yes. Even though some people will be denying now, because of course, the identity and roots have changed, We're now in a modern country called Nigeria, and a whole lot of things have changed. But despite the language, there might be language differences, all right? Because if the British conquered us, it doesn't mean we're now English speakers. You could still see people speaking their local language. Tomorrow people could drop English and start revert to their local language. Let's say they create Oduduwa nation now. The nation can say our official language from now on is Yoruba. If you are migrating to a country, you must pass your IELTS. You must pass a TOEFL exam, which to prove that you know how to speak Yoruba. The way the Germans do it. You want to migrate to Germany? Good. You batch them, but you must take exams and pass their language. So that Germany is speaking, is it Dutch language, doesn't mean that there was no time that maybe the English conquered them, or the Romans. Romans speak Latin. They are from Italy. There was a time that Romans conquered part of Germany. But if you go to that part of Germany, they don't speak Latin. But you'll still see some Roman cultures. So if your town, if your town has a title holder with the name Oba, it is very likely, highly likely, that the Benin Kingdom got there, either by trade influence or by war, or that the town decided to play what do you call it, allegiance, pledge allegiance to the Benin Kingdom. Here's how it works those days. Let's say from here, I'm in town B, and town A is a powerful empire, but they have not attacked us yet. We're just somewhere on the outskirts. They have not reached us. We do trade and we're in good terms with them, but we are not them. And then there's town C on the other side of me, attacking me, always invading my villages. What do? I can go to town A and say, I pledge my allegiance to you. I want to be part of your empire. Okay? In exchange, next time these people attack me, send your soldiers to come and stop them. Then town A will say, okay, if you're going to be part of us, then we're going to make you, you will not just be a king to your people, you will now be a governor under our empire. Therefore, we now give you this title. You get the idea now? So that your town is bearing the same name or title as another empire doesn't necessarily mean it was by war. It's most likely, it's possible that it was based on a mutual agreement, for protection and whatever, or trade. Or it could be a name that other people call you people. If it has to do with the town name. Like if you go to the eastern region, you see places that they say, this is the road that leads to where Igbos stay. So you hear Uzo. You understand? The people are given that road name. Now, after some time, if a town develops on that road, the name of that town is going to be Uzo. But then the one that will be an Igbo town will now be a slightly different name. So success. So now, Success said Fulani, Igbo, and Yoruba armies who joined 500 British and American soldiers. Probably his comment is not complete, but he's trying to say that I don't know the history of Benin. I'm a historian, okay? So if you're going to counter what I'm saying, you better bring proper history reference because I did my research very well. Now, let me tell you something. For some reason, the Hausas make good soldiers or made good soldiers for the British when they were colonizing countries. You understand? So for some reason, the Hausa land was where they found the manpower that fought effectively. In fact, the first policing system was from that area. So when Lord Lugard came, the first real place he fought serious war was in the Hausa land because they seriously resisted Lord Lugard. This thing. Go and Google the history of Lord Lugard. He fought a lot of war there. But soon as that war was over, he was taking Hausa soldiers to fight other communities. So go and read the history of the invasion of Benin Kingdom. You will see what I'm telling you. Now, Hausas didn't just fight in Nigeria. When the British was fighting in Ghana, they were fighting the Ashanti Kingdom. The last king of the Ashanti is a lady, a woman that fought the British. But on the other side, the British were fighting with Hausa soldiers. They got Hausa soldiers from Nigeria and also got some Yoruba soldiers, but majority Hausas. So that's history. I'm not making it up. Go and Google it. The only place you will not see that the British fought with are Edos and Igbos. There's no record of British using Edo army, like soldiers that came from Edo. It doesn't happen. There's no record of it. Then the Igbos, there's no record of it. In fact, the Igbos gave so much trouble that they started writing memo to slave traders when the slave trading was on, saying that Igbos should not be brought. Why? Because Igbos will always revolt. Go and Google it. There are so many. Beyonce even sang a song about one of that. Igbos were put in a slave ship, about 200 of them heading to the US. They revolted inside that slave ship, killed all the slave masters, left only the ship sailor, the pilot, if I know, the driver, and told him to take them back to Igbo land. It's sea. In the sea, if you look around you, you will not see land, so you will not know where you are, except the pilot that knows how to read the navigation instrument. During the daytime, the pilot will face Africa. During the night time, he will turn and face Europe and face US. That was how he eventually landed them in the US. When the Igbos saw that they were in the US, they decided to go walk into the ocean and commit suicide rather than serve as slaves. It's history. Go and check it. In what do you call it now? Jamaica. Most of the slaves in Jamaica were taken from Igbo land. They revolted. Go and Google it. So most of the slave revolts were Igbos. Igbos don't like being ruled by anybody. So it's not this old Biafran thing you're hearing today. Not be today, start. I think it's genetic. Wherever an Igbo man stays, he can do business, he can do everything for you. But the moment you want to impose your leadership authority of one type of, that is where fight will start. And an Igbo man is ready to die. Look at how many Igbos that died in Biafran war before they gave up. Do you know how many parts of Africa that can withstand that kind of onslaught and still be resolved? So different towns have their own behaviors, you know, different kind of behaviors that are likely to. So it's not that I'm talking against one town or promoting another town. No, I'm just giving you history the way it is. You know, we were not there then. We just have to read and listen to our forefathers, you know, what the stories they tell. You know, if you go to South, you see good fishermen and good swimmers. If there was an industry that involved fishing, you would have seen Ijos, Yorubos, you know, excelling seriously in that. So different kinds of people in different parts of the world had different peculiarities. Like the Yorubas in Oyo Kingdom. Oyo Kingdom was expanding northward. That was how they got to Kwara. They were expanding westward. That was how they crossed into Benin Republic and attacked the Dahomey Kingdom. Go and Google it, the Oyo Dahomey Wars. You know what I'm saying? This is history. History is interesting. So now, after everything, if you look at the Edo, you'll see that Edo State is supposed to have a link to the Atlantic Ocean. Look at the map of Nigeria. But for somehow, the way they did the map was now weird. How did you take Ogun State and put under Edo? Take Delta State, put under Edo, and then Edo is suspended. In fact, I think it's recently that Edo had to negotiate to be allowed access to a port. Tiny little port. You get what I'm saying? In fact, there is no company, there is no country named, no state named Benin now. It's only Benin City you now have now. All these things are stemming from that war. You know, you don't just conquer people kind of with weapons. Sometimes they put rules and regulations to make sure it's difficult for these people to rise again. That is what it is. So Wilder must have come from that place. That's how this DNA showed. Yes, success talked about Dahomey War. So you know I know it now. I know history. I did a lot of Nigerian history. There is almost no town I've not dug into their history. There's almost no town in Nigeria that I've not really dug into their history. You get? So if you feel that I'm wrong in anything, fine, but you have to bring points. You know? So Doris said, my husband's surname is Olagba, but an Urobo. Sound like Yoruba and have meaning in Yoruba. Can you tell me something? Yeah, you need to know that the Shekiri people have a strong Yoruba roots. If you look at map of Nigeria, you understand? Under Edo, you'll start seeing the Shekiri. So a lot of people moved from current Edo State, okay, down towards south. So you'll see a lot of mixes there. And then you know that they do on their left flank, or they have on their west side, they are connected to the Yorubas, and in the north too, there are Yorubas in the north. So imagine an empire like that. You wouldn't know when a lot of soldiers might be sent across. They can take soldiers from this side, sent to that side. You get? There's a name called Osadebe. Osadebe. Edos answered that name. Yorubas answered it, and some Igbos answered that name. In fact, one of the greatest Igbo musicians was answering the name, Osadebe. Now, the way we pronounce it across these different regions might be different, but it means the same thing. What of Olisa? You see Olisa, you see Orisha. You know, some people even say that that's where Onisha came from. Some people say. Well, I wouldn't know. I don't know how true that is. But the word Onisha, you know, you go to Edo, I think there's a place somewhere, either Edo or Delta, that is also called Onisha. Then if you go to Igbo land, you see a whole lot of towns called Onisha. You know, another example is of what I was giving you in terms of leadership, governors. If your king answers the title of another town that was an empire, that means that town got to where your town is. That empire got to where your town is. Is Omu, O-M-U. Omu is the name that the Arochukwu is on the eastern side of the Igbos. The last town you will see of Igbos before you enter Akwa Ibom Cross River is Arochukwu. But that was the capital. There used to be a country there in the southeast. So Biafra is not the first southeastern country. There was a country there called Aro. In fact, historically, historians now know that country as Aro Confederacy. Go and Google it, Aro Confederacy. The Aro Confederacy got all the way to current-day Anioma in the east. Anioma was part of Aro Confederacy. That's why if you go to Anioma today, you will see Omu, chieftaincy title holders answering Omu. If you cross all the way, you start seeing Omu in several different towns. In fact, there used to be a town, I don't know whether the town still exists, but historians say it no longer exists. You know, it now is now like a people. There used to be a town in Anioma called Aro Ikwere. Sorry, in Ikwere, there used to be called Aro Ikwere. So if you type Aro space Ikwere, in fact, YouTube, you see them doing their traditional dance and stuff recently. So there are people that know that originally they came from Aro. So that Aro country got to this end of, let me call it Biafra land, okay? The east, where Igbo stopped, it got all the way to the north, you know, and into Cross River. Some Cross River will be saying, we're not Igbo, we're not this. You are not Igbo. Cross River is not Igbo. But there was a time those towns in Cross Rivers were part of the Igbo, that Igbo country. Let me not call it Igbo country. Let me call it Aro. You know, and then all the way down, Aro got to Ijo Urobo. Now, what I couldn't find for sure was whether Ijo and Urobo was part of the kingdom or whether they did trade. But what I found out was that that Aro country, the moment that country was united and strong, there was great wealth that was brought into the country because that Aro used to source soldiers from all the states, let me call it, and then go and for expansion wars, and then capture slaves and send it down to Ijo and Urobo and Calabar. And this is where the white men will come and buy those slaves, and in exchange for money and weapons and all things like mirrors, drinks, all those things, they will bring it. You get? So when they bring it, the whole money will start traveling back all the way into all the communities involved. So there was a lot of wealth flowing in. So that slave trade you used to hear then was most likely an economic activity. It was economic for the whites, economic for the Aros. You get? A good example is finally the colonial masters have been trading. After some time, they now say they are no longer trading slaves. They now want to invade Aro. That was when they started meeting issues. Every part of Aro they attack, they will see soldiers emerge. For instance, in Cross River, there's a place called Bahumono, there is Yala. These towns, there's Abi. These towns were close by. So whenever the British followed the river and want to attack them, they would have done their intelligence and found out, okay, these people have 2,000 soldiers. If we get 4,000, we can defeat them. But once the war starts, they will see like 10, 20,000 soldiers. You know, 3 times they tried to invade Cross River. 3 times they lost. From 1896, 1897, 1898. They were like, And there was a lot of massacre. A lot of British personnel were rounded up and killed, ambushed and killed. Those 3 expeditions failed. They started now doing underground work. Where are these extra soldiers coming from? They now saw that, oh, Cross River was part of a country called Aro Confederacy. They said, okay, where is the capital? They said, capital is in Aro Chukwu. Oh, they said, fine, that is where we are supposed to invade. You know, we are not supposed, it's just like a country wants to invade Nigeria and they will attack Ijo. All of a sudden, they see 200,000 Nigerian soldiers. They attack Lagos. They see another 200,000. What's happening? They now found out that Abuja is where the capital is. They say, okay, let us invade Abuja directly. If we can conquer Abuja, the rest will surrender. Nobody will be given that order again. That was how the British in 1901 attacked Aro. You know, they attacked Aro. So now when they were trying to attack Aro Chukwu realized that one of their states called Obegu was, I think it's in present-day Imo State, either Imo or Abia. Go and Google it. After Obeg, you now start seeing South. They saw that the town has already negotiated with the British. The British wanted to invade them. They said, no, don't invade us. You know, you can just cross we can help you with soldiers or anything, but don't fight us. Go and fight Arochukwu inside. Arochukwu was like, damn, so you guys want to betray us. So in 1901 or 1900 September, the Aros invaded Obegu, conquered it, sacked it, you know, and tried to put a front there to fight the British. The next year, the British attacked. Oh boy, no be here. Wipe, wipe a lot of Arrow defenders. A lot of their soldiers fell that day. In fact, the war lasted about a month. After like a month, so many dead. They got to the actual deity in Arochukwu. Go to Arochukwu. That place is called Chukwu Okike Abiyama, the deity there. They put a bomb there and blew it. The British general said they put a bomb there. But we know that these people don't blow things like that. That the actual idol, they will carry it. The main idol head, oracle, they will carry it and sell it. One day, go here, say the thing don't resurface somewhere. If you go to some of these Western families, they will tell you that their great grandfather brought this. You will see it in their house. There was one pastor that returned his own. He said he's not a Christian. He returned it to Benin. They sacked Arochukwu, so some of the surviving Aro soldiers moved out. Then they assembled all the Aro priests and executed all of them, including their king. They captured their commander called Toti. The name of the king is called Kano. They now captured Toti and executed, and captured Kano, King Kano, and executed. Now, when you now hear of Nnamdi Kano, you now see where the name is coming from. It shock you. That was the king of Aro then. But Igbos don't do kings. Igbos will do more like chief priest. You understand? Igbos don't believe in one single central authority or, overpowerful. No. But you can be a chief priest. A chief priest is like more like a pastor, senior daddy G.O. It doesn't mean Daddy G is okay. Daddy G.O. is okay, but it doesn't mean he has absolute authority. That's the way Igbos say it. So after the British conquered Arochukwu, they thought that, okay, finally we'll kill the capital. There will be no resistance again. Oh boy, it shocked them. Every town or state under Arochukwu broke off and started fighting individually. So it took another about 10 to 12 years for them to finally conquer the East. I think the last battle happened between the British and the what do you call it? The British and Mbise. There's a place called Mbise. On the other end, another bitter battle was one that happened. It's called the Ekumeku War. When you're reading Nigerian history and you've not read about Ekumeku War, you've not started. The Ekumeku War was fought between the Anyoma people and the British. You get? But then, every time the British attack Anyoma, the other Igbos from Anambra would also fight back at the British. So it was a very tough war for the British. A lot of their generals died in the Ekumeku War. But today we hear people from Anyama saying we're not Igbos. That is what we have got to now. We're not Igbos. Now the thing is, who is an Igbo man? It's difficult to tell. If I say I'm not Nigerian, who then is a Nigerian? Okay, is an Igbo man somebody that speaks Igbo? Okay, Anyama speaks Igbo. Is an Igbo man somebody that has Igbo culture? Anyama is Igbo culture. You get? So as a historian, you'll be like, okay, so how come? Like, you have Igbo culture, you speak Igbo, so, and you're one of the Igbo states. It's not like there's another tribe that divides you and Igbo. You're just one of the Igbo states there. So how come? So these are the issues. I'm not saying anybody is wrong or right. I'm just saying these are the current issues we're seeing. But you need to know that during the Ekumeku War, all the Igbos around that area rallied, both Anyoma. It was primarily in Anyoma, but the British found it hard because the people in Onitsha, across the river, all the people in Anambra, they were fighting the British at the same time. The moment they heard there was a war, all of them joined. It was bitter war. The British had to go into villages and started burning villages, on civilians and all, just to make sure that they dampen that, they bring down that revolt. It lasted about 5 to 6 years. The Ekumeku War, go and Google it. So now we are hearing of Biafra. Biafra, it was not the first state that united that area. There was another state or country there before, the Aro Confederacy. Aros established hundreds of communities, new communities. So if you go to that eastern region, you see a lot of communities named Aro this, Aro that, Aro this. Some that they don't put Aro, they will name it the name of the warrior that's established that place. Now, if you go, this Aro did not stop. They got to the Niger Delta, established cities like Boni. Boni? When you talk about Boni, how was Boni established? Go and Google it. It was those Aros. And all the towns around that, some of the towns around that area. Then they set sail They entered ships and went to Equatorial Guinea and established Igbo towns in Equatorial Guinea. So if you go to Equatorial Guinea now, you will see Igbo communities. In fact, a place called Bioko in Equatorial, one of the three major tribes there are Igbo. They came from Arochukwu, set sail and moved, man. So this to just give you an idea of how big that thing was. And this empire lasted 400 years, from 1600 to 1902, when it was crushed, totally crushed. In fact, it was crushed to the point that there's no state called Arochukwu now. They have reduced it to a tiny town. You shock you. There's no state anywhere called Aro or Arochukwu. No, what you have is Imo State, named after, I don't know, probably Imo River, Abia State, but you will not see Aro. So these are the things, these are where we are coming from. I'm just giving you background of when Deontay Wilder said, I'm coming to Nigeria. These are things he's coming to experience. He's not the first. There's Kamaru Usman. Usman was born in Nigeria, from what I understood. He did some few years in Nigeria before leaving for abroad. Now he's a world champion. And now he's in power as a world champion. He decides to come back. He first landed in Lagos, and then I saw his video with the deputy governor of Edo State. They were throwing punches, And he said he's going to establish a gym or academy or something, training. If you have been following me on my channel, I've been telling you that wealth is nothing if it doesn't get to your people. As you are there now, if you hear that somebody from your family member became a governor in California, you know what I'm saying? And all through his tenure, you can't point out one single thing you benefited. I can make the argument that wealth is useless to you. It doesn't mean anything to you. See, if you're telling me that somebody from my town is the best footballer in the world, and I go to your whole town, it's just as poor as it was before the guy left. Now, this guy is worth billions, and he can't even put down a stadium in your town. That money is useless, So that's why I respect people like Ahmed Musa. Out of all the footballers Nigeria has produced for years, this is the only guy that sat down and put down a sizable, big, presentable sports complex in his town or state to make sure that that state will produce more like him. Because if you are a good fighter, it means that you have a gene beyond practice and training. You have a certain gene that makes you a good fighter. It means that one place in the world we can find more people with that kind of gene is what? Is in your town. Go and watch the video. When Kamaru Usman went to Edo, you start seeing people, the way his head is. Let me not curse him because me, I have my own head. The way his head is, you see people interviewing him, all of them have that kind of head. He shock you. He shock you. You start seeing people that look like him. It was so funny. The guy that was interviewing Kamaru Usman and Kamaru Usman, they were looking alike as if they were brother. And this is just a journalist. Now that kind of makes you start thinking, can you imagine the kind of power, physical strength that is resident within those communities that nobody has harnessed? Usman was able to harness his own because he went to a place where talents grow, at least more than other parts of the world. He went to the US. He was chanced to grow his talent. Now imagine that he puts down an academy there. What you're going to see in the next 10-15 years is 100 fighters, top elite fighters. You get what I'm saying? So in as much as he's visiting, you people should hold him down and say, guy, put something down here. Don't just give politicians money and give reporters money. Put something where they see. You get? And if you people have people that have succeeded outside the country that are from your town, send them official message. We don't recognize you unless you do something for us. Because if somebody goes outside and succeeds as a politician in the UK and is from your town, it means that there are more people in your town that can bring that kind of success. Now that person has to create that opportunity. It's not when they die, that opportunity will just go with them. And it happens a lot in Africa. Other tribes don't do that. Or let me say races. Other people don't do this. Only in Africa you will see people will become president. They will rule the whole country. At the end, they will die. And you can't point out a second person from that same town that is worth any other thing. In fact, when they are ruling is when they want to turn around and suppress their people, destroy their people, take their land. I shock you. Africa go shock you. Somebody can be deputy governor, governor, president, everything. At the end, you can't. If you go to his hometown, the road to his hometown, the road where they lead to is unusable. Yet, if you manage to navigate all that road and get to the hometown, you see that there's only one building that is a mansion, and that's his own. This Africa. This is someone that's in control of the whole economy of the country for years. Africa. So we have to start changing that narrative, you know. I've been voicing it. Maybe my voice is not loud enough, but some of you that have other platforms, I don't give a shit about how much success you record. If you can't come down home and put something down that will produce other types of you, that your money is useless. Forget. So Usman promised that yes, he's gonna put something down, and that's kudos to him. And I like this because he's doing it at a time he's in his prime and he still has all things. That's why Muhammad Ali is different from most of these boxers. When Muhammad Ali was in his prime, that was when he started visiting Africa. He came to Nigeria. Ali came to Nigeria. Shocking. 1960 something. All those, you know, Ali came to Nigeria. It's not like he did. There's no DNA test then, but he came. He wore Nigerian attire, Yoruba attire like this, and he was moving in the street. When they say greatest boxer of all time, it's not just about what Muhammad Ali did in the ring. It's about what he did, you know, outside the ring. You get. So now Deontay Wilder is realizing that he should go to his roots. Now that he has lost the belt, Oga, why you no come since? Now that you've lost the belt, what if you lose this next fight? Your what do you call it now? Your power will not, your influence will not be as powerful as it will be when you're in your prime. Imagine that he won the belt and he came. You know, even Anthony Joshua came. I think he has been to Nigeria several times. But I will also want to see what Anthony Joshua put down in his community. Forget. Hey, let me read some of your comments and I'll continue. Arochukwu is a corrupt name. Please, man. The Easterners religion was created by British, Mr. Man. I don't understand. You should learn about Arochukwu because that's not the real name. Please learn who found that town. I know the history of Arochukwu like I know the back of my hand. They came from a place called Abreba. Some soldiers from Abreba crossed into that place and then established the town. Go and Google it. They clashed with Ibibios then. But later on, they started working together because that clash resulted in elimination of the leaders that were causing the clash on both sides. So they united, the Aros and the Ibibios. So if you go to Arochukwu now, if you look at their culture, see that it matches with the Ibibio culture. When you talk about even some words, they are masquerades. You know, they are masquerades. Their culture, their marriage culture, a lot of these things match. They are secret societies. There is a secret society. It came from Ibibio. It was not originally Arochukwu. They adopted it. A lot of things. I know their history very well. What I'm saying. Success. I would like you to make proper reference to that record. I would like to see it. Now, Success Ghosting, is good that you're asking some of these questions, okay? So I can clear you. He said, if Igbos don't like rules, how come Ojukwu was the head of the East? Now, you need to understand what was happening. Ojukwu was a governor, appointed governor. He was a military governor of the Eastern region. At that time, there were no states. It was just 2 days before the Biafran war started that they started creating states. These things we have 36 states, it wasn't existing. What we had was regions. So Ojukwu was a military man that was appointed as governor of the Eastern region. So when he did a meeting with Gowon, there was a coup and counter coup and everything, and they were killing of Igbos and a whole lot of things were going on. You know, the country was not stable. And the moment they took out Agui Ironsi, Gowon stepped in. Ojukwu met with Gowon and said, you know, let us restructure this country to give more power to the regions and make the center more less attractive for people to be doing coup. That was what they discussed in Aburi, according to Ojukwu. Gowon agreed only to come back, and Gowon turned on that. He can't maybe listen to more people and said, no, that's not going to happen. Then Ojukwu said, okay, look, Nigeria is not going to work anyway. You know, if Nigeria stays the way it is, it's not going to work. So we are pulling out. We don't want to be part of you. But before he said that, he conducted a war council. In that war council, he called all the leaders of all the eastern region. I'm talking about Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Ijo, Urobo, and all those. He called all their leaders and they discussed the issues and they unanimously agreed that their best option is to pull out of Nigeria. That was on May 27, 1967. That was the same day. That was the same day Cross River was created and River State. The same day, or Gowon created Cross River and River State. The same day that they agreed. Say we are pulling out. Next thing, Gowon has announced they have created Cross River and River State. 2 days later, Ojukwu declared Biafra, the sovereign state of Biafra, which only lasted about 2.5 to 3 years. So now you start getting the idea of that book by Izichino Achebe. There was a country. So there was a country that lived 2.5 to 3 years. You know, I don't want to go deep into what happened then, but I'm just giving you a short answer to your question. So which other question am I missing? Success ghosting. No, just go and do your research, all right? And don't depend on what people say. Go and do your research on what happened. Yeah, success ghosting answered, well, how come Dahomey bear Benin Republic? Do you know that the Benin Kingdom extended past Lagos into Dahomey? You understand? Into the current Benin Republic. So it's extended into that. So in this current Benin Republic, there are three kingdoms: Dahomey, there's the Oyo Empire, of course, and then there's Benin mixing with that because the Yorubas, they were having Obas. So if you Google Oba of Benin Republic, you will see that they have Obas in Benin Republic, where they speak Yoruba and French. They have Obas. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. They have Obas there in Benin. To tell you that Benin, this Benin kingdom extended to that place. So when the British united those places and decided that they did their own amalgamation and were looking for a name to call it, they wanted to call it Dahomey. They said, no, there are two more kingdoms. They were looking for a neutral name. They said, okay, let us name it Benin. And this was, I told you that Benin was the most powerful kingdom, so they decided to name another place Benin. You know why? Of course, divide and rule. It's just like I come to your town, I conquer your town, I go and name another town after your town. You know, even though that other town might have roots. Like I said, there are Obas that speak Yoruba and French in Benin Republic. So they named it Benin Republic, which is Benin Republic. Now, when Ojukwu, during that Biafran War, Ojukwu tried to capture Lagos. You know, Lagos was the capital of Nigeria. If he captures Lagos, then he can force Gowon to allow Biafra to go. So that was the assault he made. But when he got to Edo, he just overran Edo. He had a lot of Biafran soldiers. He just overran Edo. He was heading to Ore. Ore was where he stopped. When he overran Edo, he renamed Edo to the Republic of Benin. He said Edo should be a full country, not a state. Ojukwu renamed Edo Republic of Benin. So there was a country again. You know? But when Ojukwu's Biafran soldiers pulled back, Nigerian soldiers got there and renamed it back to Edo. So these are leadership tactics, ruling tactics that the British implemented when they conquered. No, success ghosting, Arochukwu is not a corrupt name. That is what it is. It's called Arochukwu. Chukwu there is the name of the idol there. Aro is like, means like a nation, you know. Yes, well, I'm a supporter of all the boxing fans, but basically, CB, I'm reading, I'm reacting to your comment. You said that you're a Wilder supporter, okay? I'm a supporter of all the boxing champions. But basically, in this next fight, I kind of want Wilder to win. I want Wilder to beat Fury. You know, I don't know why, but kind of feel I want to see a devastating knockout. Get what I'm saying? It's just how I feel. Nigeria today said I have to put a number to call. Honestly, that's something I've not been doing. I think I should start doing it. What do you guys think? Have like calling service where people voice their opinion, because I see that many people want to add to this historical gist. Many people. Yes, Nigeria today is countering success, saying there is nothing like Arochukwu. It's not too Aro. I'm telling you, there are hundreds. Go and Google Aro. So many communities have the name Aro this, Aro that, Aro Ndizogo, Aro this, Aro. There are plenty to show you there that these Aros established a whole lot of communities. A whole lot. Like brand new minted communities, they established a whole lot. In fact, some people don't even know self. Aros crossed from Imo through Anambra, established communities until they got to Enugu. So how would you know? You will know from the name of the idol. The name of the idol they worship there, you will see it in different places. That's how you know that these people came here. So when the British came, success is talking about renaming. When the British came, they discovered that Igbos don't have God in heaven. There's nothing like the concept of God in heaven is not there. But we have God the Creator, Chukwu Okike Abiyama, Then we didn't have devil. There was no God that is evil. Gods had different powers, like angels. But there was no devil. There's no God that is innately evil. The gods will treat your fuck up. If you mess up, they treat your fuck up, But they are not evil. You get, if you do evil, you get evil, instant karma. If you do good, you get good. That was the concept of the worship then, the religion then. But when the British came, they were like, no. There's something called devil, then there's something called God. Okay, if you do good, what the Bible says, you go to God. If you do bad, you go to the devil. Something like that. Calm down, everybody. Calm down. But then it didn't work. So they decided to translate it to the local language. When they now came to the local language, they did not see a word for devil. They can see evil, but there was no devil. So what did they do? They took one of the idols and made it devil. They called it Ekwensu. Ekwensu is one of the Igbo idols. In the Yoruba land, they did the same thing. They picked Eshu. Eshu is it Eshu? I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it properly, but ESU. The same God, Ekwensu, Eshu. So it's the same God that Igbos call the same name. It's just a crafty, intelligent, smart God. Trickish. That's the powers of that one. They said, yes, that is it. That's the devil. That's the devil. So there's a town in Igbo land called Umu Ekwensu, which means children of Ekwensu, that idol. One pastor showed up and told them, no, you people should change it to Umu Chukwu. Because now the British now said that, oh, that idol in Arochukwu is called Chukwu. They now say that is the name for God. So in Igbo land now, the word for God is now Chukwu. Shocking. So some pastor went to that Umu Ekwensu town and told them, no, change it, that's devil. That's why people have not been succeeding. Change it to Umu Chukwu. Ignorantly, not knowing that Chukwu is also an idol. The way Ekwensu was an idol, Chukwu is also an idol. So you're just like jumping from one idol to another. In case you are fighting against the idol, you better have to manufacture a new word for God, because that word does not exist. There was no thing representing so they renamed that idol to mean the Christian God. That was what the British did. Shock you. Renamed another idol to mean devil. What of hellfire? There's no word for hell in Igbo language. No word for hell. It doesn't exist. Igbos did not have that concept of eternal punishment. Igbos believe that if you die, you resurrect. You come back to your ancestors. You know what I'm saying? Unless you died evil, there will not no resurrection for you. But or in reincarnation, not resurrection. But Igbo people used to believe anywhere an Igbo man dies, his spirit will reincarnate back into his community. So when they would take those slaves abroad, those slaves will be like, instead of us slaving here, we'll fight these people. If we die, our spirit will go back to our native land. So when you watch that Black Panther, you see when that, what's his name? The other guy that was fighting Black Panther, he talked about his spirit or whatever going to his native land or something. That was the Igbo belief system. So when the British came, they said, no, why would you fight and die? No, you just Okay, if you die doing evil, you go to hell, eternal fire. So how did they now convince the Igbos? They had to bring out a word. So Igbos had to manufacture a special word for hell. So the word for hell in Igbo is Okumo, which is a spirit fire. It doesn't make sense. How can spirit fire be hell? It shock you. Now they didn't have a word for heaven. So the Igbos also have to manufacture that. They call it Enuige, which is the top of the skies. How can top of the skies be heaven? It could make sense, right? Doesn't make sense. So these are the things for ancient success, some of the changes in names that were craftily done. See, somebody saying I'm from Arochukwu and we live in Ihiala. So many people, so many, like I told you, even non-Igbo speaking tribes down to Calabar was part of that Aro Confederacy. They have a logo. Go and go just after this video, Google it, ARO Confederacy. Google it. So Edo people, when Wilder is showing up, people have to tell him Edo culture. He has to do something. He has to bring all those millions of dollars, man, and build a boxing gym, academy, proper mini stadium. He has a lot of money, enough money to build a full stadium himself. Most people see Nigerians can survive and succeed anywhere. All they need is just single opportunity. Just give people a stadium where they can go and practice their boxing. Give it time. World champions will emerge from there. The only time people don't succeed is when there is zero opportunity. There's somebody called Efe Apoki. Efe Apoki is an upcoming boxing champion. When you hear Efe, you know where it's coming from. Still Edo. There's somebody called what's this other guy's name? That is forgotten his name. The upcoming boxing champions now that have devastating power, they are all Edo or Yoruba. That's where you see people with a lot of arm strength. So it kind of started explaining to you how Edo as a Benin kingdom was able to expand. Imagine that the average Benin man has a lot of power on their shoulders. They can swing really hard. So imagine them wielding a sword 200 years ago, and you're in a battle. You meet a Benin man. He's wielding a sword. He wants to cut you, then you block it. He may be able to generate enough power to cut you, your sword, your armor, your everything, and still get to you in one slash. Because of what? Arm strength. Now you multiply it by all the soldiers coming to attack you. Let's say 70% of the soldiers have superhuman arm strength or incredible ability to wrestle. Have you seen Kamal Usman wrestling? If he grab you, nothing. The only thing that can save you is end of the fight. If Usman grab you, say you want to wrestle, if he grab you like this, guy, just consider that, start thinking of the next fight. Efe Ajagba. There's another one again. Apart from Efe Ajagba, there's another Apoki. 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 Another one again. Because that one is not as popular as Efe Ajagba, but it's still coming up. Go and Google it. So Bato said, Wilder will knock Fury out. Yes, I want Wilder to knock Fury out because I want to see Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. That's why I went Wilder. And also I don't like the way Fury decided to avoid Wilder, and he denied us the fight from February last year till now. Fury was running from Wilder. He would have got into the ring if he believes he can beat Wilder, finish Wilder, and clear all doubts. Then go to Joshua. If he had fought Wilder last year, by now he would have been fighting Joshua and he would have been justified. But he went so trickish, fighting, running from Wilder for 1 year. What are you telling me? 1 full year. Only to end up being forced by the courts. I want Wilder to knock him out. In fact, round 2, I want to see devastating knockouts. Knock him back to, is it Ireland or wherever you come from? Thanks, James. Thanks a lot. You people should be donating to this, what do you call it? Live. There's a way to donate to this live. Oh. People that have money. Donate better money. Be donating to me or call me and send me money. That's the level we're in now. Thanks a lot for the much love from James. So, James is asking, are you from the former Old Eastern region? I am from UAR. That's the country where we're just looking for a president now. That's the new country we are from. Look, if you have any more questions on this history, there's any part you want me to expand a little more, I'm going to dig in. Otherwise, I'll be ending this video soon. Now, we've created a new course. How many of you noticed? I published one of the many videos in that course 2 days ago. And what's the course? The course is social media management. Now, every company needs a social media manager, somebody that manages their social media account. This is different from social media marketing. On the internet, you don't see a course. I searched the whole internet. There was no course on social media management. What they are putting is marketing, marketing, marketing. What of somebody that doesn't want to market, they just want to be managing the social media accounts of companies professionally? And as a recruiter, I get a whole lot of requests daily. And then you see young ladies, young guys looking for jobs, and they don't have any knowledge in that. And it's something that can be done with phone. So if you have younger ones at home, even in school, let them take that course. Let them take one evening, buy that course for them. Let them use one evening, take that course. When they take the course, what's going to happen? It means that they can now start working as social media managers. Inside that course, I showed how to get jobs. And social media managers don't need to be in the office. They can work remotely. So this lady can be a student in school. She wakes up in the morning, she replies to messages, makes a post, she gets to classroom. During break, she checks her phone, sees whether any customer has sent any message, she'll reply. That's it. In the evening, she'll make one post. At the end of the month, they're clearing her 50 to 100K, and she uses it to pay her school fees. Look after herself. So if you have younger ones, cousins, whatever, buy that course for them. It's going to be very beneficial, and they don't need a laptop. All they need is a phone to take that course. So the course, the way I did it was, I'll teach how something is done on a laptop, then I'll switch to phone. I'll teach this is how, for phone, this is how you would have done it in your phone. You'll see the phone screen there, step by step, step by step. I'll switch back to laptop. On a laptop, this particular platform, this is how you do this, that. These are the details, these are the tips and tricks. On this one, this. So go and sign up. Social media management. I'll put the link in the comments once I finish this. Okay? I'll put the link. And some of you that want it, just chat me up on WhatsApp. I'll send you the link straight on WhatsApp. And now, this social media management is not just about Nigeria. It's a job that anybody in any part of the world can do. In fact, if you go online now where you are, I don't know what part of the world you are, and say social media manager needed in, you put your city. Let's say you're in Amsterdam. Go to Google and say social media manager jobs in Amsterdam. It will shock you. So many vacant positions. There is no course on it. I don't know why. So that course I created is very unique in that topic. So you can pick that course, apply to the country, to the company, tell them you want to work remotely. Since COVID-19 last year, many companies accept remote work. So once they take you, you can be doing the remote work while going to your regular job. You just need to check your phone every now and then to be sure that things are happening. So my WhatsApp number is 080 35117575. Send me a message on WhatsApp. 080 35117575. I wish I could have typed it here, but somebody please help me type it in the comments. 080 35117575. Chat me up on WhatsApp. I'll send you the link to the course. 080 35117575. Oh, Destiny said, my first time watching you live. Your voice is way far different from your look. And watching you and hearing other person's voice. Sometimes you're hearing people's voice, like all this OAP. When you finally see them, you're like, how can I reconcile the look to the voice? It happens to when you're visiting somebody, they're telling you, come to my house, come to my house. You'll be imagining things. When you finally get to the house, you might have a little personality shock, in terms of trying to reconcile what you imagined the house to be and what it is. So I can imagine. So someone should help me type in the comments 080 35117575. Now, if you are adding this number from outside Nigeria, you have to add the +234. So it will now be +23480 35117575. Chat me up on WhatsApp. I'll send you the link to that social media management course. You send it to your siblings or whatever. Let them sign up. Okay? Let them sign up and then take that course so they can start getting jobs. You know? So I'm already receiving some messages on WhatsApp. Fine, I'll reply you guys once I end the call. So 08035117575. I will pin it in the comments once I drop this live video. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you learned one or two things. I always make sure that in any of my videos that I pass as much information as possible so that anybody watching it will not just be entertained. You get to learn, you get to learn a lot. Thank you very much, guys. See you on WhatsApp.